Who's out by simply waiting? Call 800-709-4667 right now to see what your claim could be worth when handled by a skilled attorney. With a lawyer fighting and speaking up for you, you could be entitled to a big cash award. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Now it's fast and easy to connect with the legal help you need after your car accident. Call 800-709-4667. The call is free, but you need to act now before time runs out on your claim. You need a lawyer to fight for you, protect you, and get you the compensation you need and deserve. Time's wasting. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Call now.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
You shouldn't have to pay to talk to the people closest to you, or the people who used to be. That's why Umbrella Wireless is proud to announce the new Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan. Now you'll get unlimited calls to your best buddy, your mom, or Cindy, once she realizes that you're seriously meant for each other and should stop screening your calls. Now the 30 minutes of agonizing silence where you're both afraid to hang up may drain your battery, but it won't drain your wallet. And you'll get unlimited calls just to check if she still cares enough to pick up, with no extra charges. With the Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, your phone will automatically answer calls from your ex, because maybe she finally realizes that you're the only one for her and wants to get coffee sometime. Now, after lonely nights of looking at pictures of the road trip you took together when everything was great, your misspelled texts are absolutely free. The only thing you have to pay for is the booze. The Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, because she wants you back. She just doesn't know it yet.
Welcome back. I am still your lovable host, Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire. Have I ever mentioned to you how much I love this state? I do. I don't foresee myself freely leaving New Hampshire. I don't. I mean, I believe it is probably one of the most beautiful areas on the planet, let alone just the country. No, and granted, for what it is, I mean, obviously you can't compare northern climes to like the Caribbean. They're apples and oranges. But as far as places that are similar to New England, going across the United States, with similar climates and similar topography and that type of thing. And going across the world, actually. I think it's one of the most beautiful spots on the planet. It really, I got a lot going on over here. Where I live in a very strategic place. because within a 2-hour drive, I can be, frolicking in the Atlantic Ocean, in the sea. I could be taking a nice leisurely cruise on a large lake, freshwater lake. I could be hiking in the mountains, or I could be down enjoying big city atmosphere and entertainment. It's as far as I'm concerned, it's got it all. I mean, you got the country, you got cities, it's great. But with that said, no, it's not an invitation for you people to move here. It's stay where you are. Make your own state better. I'm still fighting. I'm just kidding, folks. We do have a lot of people that tend to come here that want to change things for the worse, simply because they're liberal and they come from liberal bastion states like California, New York, and Massachusetts, and they come up to New Hampshire and think that they should have, they leave those states because they're frustrated with too many laws and taxes being too high, and then they get here. And then they wonder, well, how come my services aren't the same, and how come this isn't a law? And then they try to make this state like the state they left. Well, they don't. They're too idiotic to realize there's a reason why they left the state that they left to come here, because they wanted more freedom, they wanted less taxation and less government involvement in their life. And then they get here and realize, well, no, this is not the same as the state I came from. They should do this and this. No, we shouldn't. Leave it alone. And I fight tooth and nail on a daily basis on that. And speaking of taxes, New Hampshire is a state that has one of the lowest tax burdens on its citizens in the Union. That's why people come here. New Hampshire and Texas and Alaska, those are low tax burden states. That's why people move there, including Alaska. I don't know why people want to live up there in Alaska. Yeah, it is beautiful up there. But they don't have a summer. It's barely 2 months. And then, in most places in Alaska, they're lucky if they get to 75 degrees in the summer months. It's crazy. But it's gorgeous. The beauty and the view is absolutely amazing. But people like the freedom that they're willing to put up with even the harshest of winters. That should tell people something. That should tell our politicians something. People like less government. And Alaska isn't falling apart. The only reason why Alaska doesn't have more people in it is simply because of its location on the planet. Because it only has 2 months of summer. That's it. If Alaska had California weather, it would be the largest state by population in the country. By far. It would be. And I don't think there's nobody really who can honestly argue with me on that. If Alaska had the climate that California, anywhere in California, it could be Northern California, Southern California, it doesn't matter. If they had the climate of California, it would be the largest state by population in the country. Simply because of the liberty that people enjoy while there. And maybe part of the reason why they do have such liberty and small government involvement is because the landmass of Alaska is so big and there's so few people per square mile. It's ridiculous. I do believe Alaska is the lowest density state in the Union. If you want to have less people per mile than you get in Alaska, I think you got to go. You got to go in the Northwest. I think they change the names up there in Canada. The Yucatan and Northwest Territory, I think those are the only two places in North America that have a lesser dense population per square mile than Alaska. Well, there's nobody up there. You might be lucky if you find one person every mile in those territories in Canada. Again, for those who like to live that kind of lifestyle, it's due to the freedom. There's no government interference on your daily life. Really. And, because every Sunday I watch probably about an hour's worth of Buying Alaska. I think it's on TLC. And I see all these people that, the shows about people who look at property in Alaska. They come from various places in the country and they're in Alaska and they're looking for a home or homestead or what have you in Alaska. That varies from, city-like property to really being totally off the grid type of properties. And there is a little bit of romance to that. I can see why people like it. I can understand why people are willing to put up with, 8 months of snow. I'm not there yet. So I'll stay here in New Hampshire and fight for my freedom here. But Alaska has a low tax burden as well, which is a good thing. And speaking of low tax burden, do people know what today is? Today is Tax Freedom Day. Yeah, I kid you. April 24th is a Tax Freedom Day. As we know, April 15th is the tax deadline, but tax day that everybody regretfully has to meet or get one of those automatic extensions, which then takes them to August 15th, and they're still just as turned off by having to deal with their taxes on that day as they are on April 15th. But April 24th this year is National Tax Freedom Day for 2015. Basically, it states that you've worked January 1st to April 24th to pay your taxes at your state and federal level. Now, in reality, that is not. There is another day that is called Tax Freedom Day, and they take into consideration a bunch of other taxes. And that day is sometime in May. But the day that everybody likes to tout, as far as being Tax Freedom Day, in other words, being able to pay your major taxes that everybody typically has to pay, like your income taxes, your payroll taxes, and certain other taxes on the state and federal level. April 24th is the day that you've paid all those taxes. So theoretically speaking, the rest of the year, the money's yours. But you're working nearly 4 months for the government. Now, let me reiterate that. You are working 4 months out of the year just to pay the government. Do you folks understand that? Now, depending on your state, that day could be extended because some states have higher income tax rates than others. Like mine here in New Hampshire, we don't have a personal income tax. We do not have a general sales tax. For other states, their income taxes, the personal income tax can be as high as 9%. So their tax-free day might take them into May. But generally speaking, on average, you work nearly 4 months out of the year to pay the government. Do you understand? I can't even believe that even a liberal would want to do that. They ask, people need to pay more in taxes. Really? We're already giving 4 months of our income, 4 months out of 12, to the government. How much more do we need to? It gets to a point, folks, where you become indentured servants to your government. We're at that point now. When you have to give up 4 months of your income to your government, that's indentured servitude. They get their cut right off the top before you get yours. Think about that. Before you even get your paycheck, the government gets their cut. You're the one that works 40, 50, 60 hours a week. But before they even cut your paycheck, the government gets their take. So you do realize that's 1/4 of the year. That's 1/4 of the year. So 1/4 of your paycheck goes to the government every freaking payday. And you want to tell me we're not paying enough? What do you want to be like Finland, where the average tax burden rate is about 70%? I mean, that's insane. People of Finland, they're not free. Well, they have a free kind of government. They're not a dictatorship. No, they're not free. You're paying 70% of your